What's up, YouTube? Welcome to another video, and I hopefully I could start uploading a bit more consistently now. It's just been a bit of a rough last couple of weeks, but hopefully I'll try to get back on track. Um, and today I want to talk about a topic that I was thinking about not too long ago called the psychology of making it. To explain what I mean by that, it's a psychology that I think I have where it comes when you over identify with being successful or trying to succeed. Oops. Trying to succeed. The desire to be successful, the need to always win and be good and be perfect is very important to you, and it's like it becomes kind of becomes your identity. If you do good, you feel a little good. You feel a little good about yourself. If you're not doing well, it can be very catastrophizing for you. So, doing some thoughts about it, I realized that it often results from having a childhood that lacked security. What kind of security? It varies. Sometimes it was emotional support, sometimes it was financial support. Um, to somebody who kind of resonated the financial ways, just like in the financial support, it's just like when your parents couldn't do certain things for you and they couldn't meet certain needs for you. Obviously, you went out in the world with some shame. You went out of the world with some resentment sometimes, and little do you know, like you start absorbing things that the negatives from your parents, their own struggles, you start absorbing it. And sometimes some parents, they even may make it your responsibility. They may put it on you that you gotta be the successful one, because it's just like they made you and they're like, well, you got a chance, and then they always instill in your head that you gotta do this, you gotta do this because they couldn't do it. And the child in that situation, when they grow up with any kind of deficiency in any way, they grow up and they normally become workaholics. They become scared of making mistakes. They feel like making one mistake is the end of the world, because it's just like since they're young, they haven't had space and room to just make an error and just get a bad grade, or they weren't allowed to make a bad grade. They weren't allowed to do certain things because they grew up in this environment that kind of taught them that they had to always be great, be great, be great. And all this pressure in the brain, it actually stunts success. Though I've realized that before I started therapy, before I started actually before I got rid of all this pressure, it was weird, but I just couldn't do anything I wanted to do. It's like my finances were still bad, my relationships were still bad. Somehow I was feeling weak with my communications with people. People never respected me. Couldn't get I didn't I just never was getting what I wanted out of life. And I noticed that when I started healing, when I started telling myself that I deserve it, it was funny how little things start to change, because when all this pressure is in your brain about succeeding all the time and always doing good, you forget about the little things that make life great. You forget that making a mistake is part of it. You forget about it, and another sinister thing that sometimes people in this situation do, that they have to be careful for, is that they start taking their blessings for granted. They even stop forgetting how blessed they are, because another thing that comes with the psychology of making it is that you're always comparing yourself to somebody. So when you're always comparing yourself to somebody, it's just like you only see what they have, and you don't even see, and you don't even appreciate what you have, which is what's going to build you into whatever success you're supposed to get in this life. So um people who have the psychology of making it, also they tend to identify, they don't identify with the small little things that make life good, but they over identify with the big things. So it's always, if they graduated, if they got a great grade, if they if they landed a great job, they finally get a bit of validation, because to them, that's what their existence is about. It's about making it. But studying myself and studying other people who have this psychology of making it, even when they get that thing they wanted, it's like the joy is short lived, because right after you get that thing, here comes more things that you have to do. And another thing that happens is also like because you didn't really live your life the way you wanted it to, you did the way you wanted to live, even when you get success, there's still some resentment against yourself. Because, for example, let's say you felt forced into being a great student. You didn't really want to be, you didn't always want to go to every class. You probably had other things in mind. You probably wanted to be in sports, athletics. But here you are, you graduate with honors. Your parents are congratulating you. You feel a little validation because you got the graduated. But deep down inside, you feel like you missed something, because what you missed was you really and truly you wanted to explore your athletic capabilities. Maybe it's music, you wanted to do something musical. Maybe it's this, like, you wanted to start a YouTube channel, but you always felt like you didn't have no time to start a YouTube channel. You always felt like you had to do something else instead of doing what you wanted to do. And the danger of that is that even when you get the success, oh, this phone is falling. But even when you get the success, you can't even really enjoy it. You can't even really be in the moment and just be like, oh my gosh, I got this, because you're living out of touch with yourself. But another part to this video was that I actually started to, in my life recently, I've actually been, I don't know what it is. I don't know why God has been doing this to me, but I at first, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't know why God was doing this, but I kept meeting people who came from healthy homes. Their two parents were there. They were financially stable. Their parents were able to pay them for college, everything, give them a car, a house, things that I was like, when am I even going to get that? And I kept meeting these young people, and they're younger than me. And I'm just like, why am I being shown these people? But I realized I was being shown them to learn from them. And here's some of the things that I kind of learned is that a lot of them, they have a strong sense of self. They don't subvert their self for nothing. If they don't want to do something, they're okay with not doing it. And they're okay facing the consequences. They're okay with being like, all right, I probably, I don't like doing this, I'm not doing it. They're okay if people call them lazy. They don't care if people call them weird or nothing. They have a stronger sense of self. They have a stronger sense of confidence. And they are not afraid, a great quality of that, they are not afraid of making mistakes or failing. And even when they do fail, they recover better, because a lot of times when they fail, they're doing it out of, I want to explore this. It's not like I have to do this. It's like, I want to explore this. And if they fail, and if they make mistakes, they don't beat themselves up too much, because maybe even in their parenting, their parents didn't beat them up too much about mistakes. Sometimes kids who have the psychology of making it, they come from parents who would not accept anything but perfection from them. So it's just like they feel like making the mistakes is the most terrible thing in the world, when the people who came from the better houses, I realized mistakes was part of the journey. And with experiencing them, I realized that the lesson was to take what I got from them and give it to myself. Sometimes a parent can't do it, sometimes they won't be able to do it for you. So take what they got and do it to myself. And what I've been doing lately in my life is just choosing myself. Not being afraid to make mistakes, not being afraid to fail, not being afraid to say no, not being afraid to say I need a break. And I can say that these things have already changed my life in how much stress I feel, how much even somehow my finances is getting better. Somehow the goals that I thought were so far away seem closer. And just to finish up the video, the sad part is, and I've noticed this in some people I live with and some people who I know, is as you grow old, if you're not careful, that child who absorbed all that pressure, though in their life they may have worked tirelessly to try to make it, they may end up dying in the same situation their parents were in, and they may end up passing on the same pathologies to their children. So be very careful about having the psychology of making it. And always remember, it's okay to make a mistake, and it's okay to just live. And the most important gift you can give to yourself is to ask yourself, why was I put on this planet in a time like this? So tell me what you think about this video.